The massive hall buzzed with alien voices as representatives from 847 species gathered for the tri-annual census. Holographic displays showed star maps dotted with green lights, each one marking a world under the Galactic Council's protection. The ceremony was always the same, a boring count of member worlds that nobody really paid attention to anymore. Captain Hyunwoo floated in the darkness between stars, watching through his ship's sensors. The Silent Thunder had been holding position for 6 hours, completely invisible to the alien sensors below. His crew of 12 sat quietly at their stations, recording everything they saw and heard. "Sir, the automated census is starting," whispered Lieutenant Jiho from the communication station. Her fingers danced over controls that looked nothing like standard human technology. 300 years of hiding had taught Earth's children to build things differently. On the main screen, they watched as the Galactic Council's AI began its report. Species after species flashed by. The proud bird-like Kalari, the slug-like Morthan traders, the crystalline Vex collective. Each had their population numbers, territory claims, and resource contributions displayed for all to see. Hyunwoo knew exactly what would happen when the AI reached Sector 7739. The same thing that had happened for the last 3 centuries. Sector 39, the AI announced in its neutral voice. "No active civilizations detected, automatic skip confirmed." The alien delegates didn't even look up. Why would they? Everyone knew that Sector contained only dead worlds and empty space. The AI's database showed that a primitive species called humans had once lived there, but they had died out during the Great Plague of 2156. Case closed, file archived, forgotten. But Captain Hyunwoo remembered. His grandmother had told him stories about the day Earth went dark, not because everyone died, but because they chose to disappear. Back on Earth, Admiral Tae-jin stood in the war room deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. The chamber was carved from living rock hidden 3 miles under the seafloor where no alien scanner could detect it. Holographic displays showed the positions of human ships throughout the galaxy, dozens of them, all invisible, all watching. "Report from Hyunwoo confirms it," said Chief Intelligence Officer Sora as she entered the room. Her uniform bore no insignia that aliens would recognize, but every human in the fleet knew her reputation. She had spent 30 years building the intelligence network that kept humanity hidden. "The Council still thinks we're extinct," Tae-jin nodded grimly. He was 68 years old and had spent his entire career preparing for this day. His grandfather had been one of the original architects of the long preparation, the plan that saved humanity when the galaxy wanted them gone. "How many ships do we have in position?" he asked. 237 vessels across 42 systems, Sora replied. "All hidden, all ready. The Martian deep colonies report full readiness. The Jupiter stations are armed and operational. Even the mining platforms in the asteroid belt are equipped for war." The Admiral walked to the main display, which showed a real-time map of the galaxy. Green dots marked alien worlds, peaceful, prosperous, and completely unaware of the storm that was coming. Red dots showed human positions. There were so many red dots that the map looked like it had a disease. 300 years ago, the Galactic Council had decided that humans were too dangerous to exist. They were too violent, too unpredictable, too different. The 5 most powerful alien species, the hegemony, had agreed that Earth should be quarantined until the plague killed everyone. They had even helped the plague along, making sure it spread faster than human medicine could stop it. But the hegemony had made a mistake. They assumed that humans would fight the quarantine, would scream and rage and die like animals. Instead, Earth's leaders had done something unexpected. They had agreed to the quarantine, publicly accepted their fate, and quietly began the largest evacuation in human history. While the aliens watched Earth's surface cities go dark one by one, human ships slipped away in the night. Millions of people disappeared into hidden colonies scattered across the solar system. When the plague finally burned itself out, the aliens found empty cities and concluded that humanity was extinct. They were wrong. Tae-jin remembered his grandfather's words. "They wanted us gone, so we became ghosts. But ghosts have a way of coming." back when you least expect them. The years of hiding had changed humanity. They learned to build ships that could not be detected, weapons that could pierce any shield, and communication networks that used quantum entanglement instead of radio waves. Most importantly, they learned patience. "Sir," Sora continued, "our deep agents report something disturbing. The hegemony is planning something called the final integration. They want to link every alien mind in the galaxy into one collective consciousness." Taejin's jaw tightened. The final integration was exactly what humanity had feared. The hegemony didn't just want to control alien bodies and worlds. They wanted to control thoughts themselves. Every person in the galaxy would become part of one giant mind with no room for individual ideas or dreams. "When?" he asked. 6 months. They're building neural linking stations in every major system. Once activated, every alien in the galaxy will be connected to the hegemony's central control matrix. The Admiral stared at the display for a long moment. For 300 years, humanity had hidden and planned and waited. They had built fleets in the shadows and trained warriors in secret, all for this moment. "Send the signal," he said quietly. "Operation Prometheus is active." Sora hesitated. "Sir, once we reveal ourselves, there's no going back. The galaxy will know we survived." "Good," Taejin replied. "It's time they remembered why they were afraid of us in the first place." Across human space, encrypted signals began to flow. On Mars, General Minji received her orders in the deep colony complexes where millions of humans had lived their entire lives without seeing sunlight. In the Jupiter system, Commander Jae-hyun powered up weapon systems that had been hidden for centuries. Throughout the asteroid belt, mining stations revealed their true nature as military fortresses. Captain Hyunwoo felt his communicator vibrate with the activation code. Around him, his crew straightened in their chairs. They had trained for this moment their entire lives, but none of them had ever seen real combat. "All stations, this is Admiral Taejin." The voice crackled through their quantum communicators. "For 300 years, the galaxy has lived in peace because they believed we were dead. They forgot that humans don't give up. They forgot that we protect what we love. They forgot that we fight for freedom." The transmission paused, and every human in the fleet held their breath. "Today we remind them. Today we show them what Earth remembers. Ghost Fleet, decloak, and show them that humanity has returned." One by one, human ships throughout the galaxy began to appear on alien sensors. Ships that had been hiding in plain sight for decades suddenly revealed themselves. The aliens had been living next to human warriors for years without knowing it. The galaxy was about to remember why they had been so afraid of the small blue planet in Sector 7739. And this time, humanity would not be driven into exile. This time, they would stand and fight for every free mind in the galaxy. Deep beneath the red sands of Mars, Minji walked through corridors that had never seen natural light. The new Sol colony stretched for miles underground, housing 3 million humans who had been born and raised in secret. The walls were lined with gardens growing earth crops under artificial suns, but today Minji wasn't thinking about agriculture. She was thinking about war. The command center hummed with activity as technicians prepared systems that had been waiting for this moment. Since before Minji was born, massive screens showed star charts marking every human position in the galaxy. Red dots blinked steadily, each one a hidden base, a disguised ship, or a sleeper agent who had spent years building a false identity among the aliens. "General, we have confirmation from the outer colonies," reported Major Haijun, her second in command. "The Europa ice cities are fully operational. Titan's industrial complexes are ready. Even the deep space mining platforms have activated their weapon systems." Minji nodded, but her attention was focused on a smaller display showing intercepted alien communications. For months, her intelligence teams had been breaking hegemony codes, learning about their plans for the final integration. What they had discovered was worse than anyone had imagined. The neural linking wasn't just about control. The hegemony planned to erase individual personalities entirely. Every alien would become part of one massive mind, thinking only thoughts that the hegemony approved. It was the ultimate prison one where the prisoners wouldn't even know they were trapped. On the Jupiter moon Europa, Chief Engineer Jae Hyun supervised the final preparations of humanity's most secret weapon. The facility was built inside a massive ice cavern hidden beneath miles of frozen ocean. For 2 centuries, human scientists had worked here, developing technology that the aliens couldn't even imagine. "How are the phase drives testing?" he asked his assistant Yuna. "Perfect, sir. All 12 prototype ships completed their trials yesterday. The alien sensors can't track us when we're phased. We can literally fly through their hulls without them knowing we're there." Jae-hyun smiled grimly. The phase drive technology had been humanity's greatest breakthrough during the exile years. While aliens built bigger and more powerful engines, humans had learned to slip between the cracks of reality itself. Their ships could become partially invisible to normal space, allowing them to move through solid matter like ghosts. But the phase drives were just one surprise in humanity's arsenal. Meanwhile, in the Centauri system, Yujin sat in a coffee shop on the alien world of Haven's Rest, sipping bitter alien tea and pretending to be a harmless trader. She had been living this cover identity for 7 years, building relationships with local aliens and learning their weaknesses. To the bug-like Thalmor around her, she was just another refugee from a dead civilization, one of thousands of humans they thought had survived the plague by pure luck. The aliens pitied her, which made her job easier. Nobody suspected that the sad human woman selling Earth artifacts was actually mapping their military installations. Her hidden communicator buzzed with the activation signal. After 7 years of waiting, it was finally time to drop the act. "This is Agent Yujin reporting," she whispered into her drink. "Haven's Rest garrison has 47 ships, mostly patrol class. Their main shield generator is in the Eastern District, poorly defended. I can have it sabotaged within 6 hours." Similar reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Humans had been playing the role of harmless refugees and traders for decades, all while gathering intelligence and placing themselves in perfect positions to strike when needed. Back on Earth, Admiral Tae-jin reviewed the master plan one final time. 300 years of preparation had led to this moment. The long preparation hadn't just been about building ships and weapons, it had been about understanding the enemy. The aliens thought in patterns. They followed rules. They believed that bigger was always better, and that advanced technology could solve any problem. These assumptions made them predictable, and predictable enemies could be defeated. Humans thought differently. They improvised. They adapted. They turned weaknesses into strengths and found solutions that nobody expected. While the aliens had grown comfortable and lazy during 3 centuries of peace, humans had been forging themselves into the perfect weapon. "Sir," Sora appeared at his side, holding a data pad with the latest intelligence reports. "We've confirmed the hegemony's timeline. The final integration begins in exactly 173 days. If we're going to stop them, we need to move soon." Tae-jin studied the reports. The hegemony had built their neural linking stations throughout the galaxy, but they had made them too centralized. Destroy the main control hubs and the entire system would collapse. It was an elegant plan with one fatal flaw. They had assumed nobody would be able to find and destroy those hubs. They had forgotten about human stubbornness. "Send word to all unit commanders," the Admiral ordered. "Phase 1 begins tomorrow. We start with the outer systems and work our way in. By the time they realize what's happening, it will be too late to stop us." As Sora left to carry out his orders, Tae-jin looked up at the ceiling display showing Earth's night sky. Somewhere up there beyond the atmosphere, human ships were beginning to move. The greatest military operation in human history was about to begin. The aliens had made humanity into ghosts. Now those ghosts were about to become a nightmare. Commander Dongmin crouched in the ventilation shaft above the Hegemony Communication Center on Outer Station 12. He had been waiting in this cramped space for 3 hours, but Special Forces training had taught him patience. Through the grate below, he could see alien technicians working at control panels, completely unaware that death hung 6 feet above their heads. His ghost battalion had infiltrated the station 2 weeks ago, disguised as maintenance workers. The aliens never looked closely at the humans they hired for manual labor. They saw humans as useful but harmless, refugees grateful for any work. That blind spot was about to cost them everything. Dongmin's earpiece crackled with a whispered message. Phoenix 1, this is Phoenix 7. Package delivered to reactor level. Phoenix 3 here. Backup generators are ready for shutdown. Phoenix 5 reporting. Communication array is marked for termination. 12 elite soldiers had penetrated one of the hegemony's most secure facilities without triggering a single alarm. In 15 minutes, they would completely destroy the station's ability to coordinate with other hegemony forces. The aliens thought humans were too primitive to understand their technology. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. On Earth, Dr. Hyojin put the finishing touches on humanity's most devastating weapon. It wasn't a bomb or a gun. It was a computer virus specifically designed to target hegemony neural linking systems. Her team had spent 20 years studying captured alien technology, learning how their minds worked, finding the weaknesses in their collective consciousness experiments. The virus is ready, she reported to Admiral Tae-jin via secure quantum link. Once we upload it to their network, their neural linking stations will turn against them. Instead of creating a collective mind, they'll scramble alien brain patterns. Any alien connected to the system will be knocked unconscious for days. Tae-jin smiled coldly. Poetic justice, Doctor. They wanted to control alien minds, so we'll use their own system to shut those minds down temporarily. There's more, sir. The virus will also unlock the suppression protocols they've been using on younger civilizations. Every species they've been keeping primitive will suddenly have access to advanced technology. It was perfect. Humanity wouldn't just defeat the hegemony. They would liberate every species that had been held back by alien arrogance. In the asteroid belt, Captain Seung-ho watched his crew transform their mining platform into a warship. The facility had been disguised as a simple ore processing station for 200 years, but that was just camouflage. Hidden beneath the industrial equipment were weapon systems that could destroy an entire fleet. Sir, all batteries report. Ready, announced Weapons Officer Yoonji. The magnetic cannons are charged and the phase torpedoes are loaded. Seung-ho looked out at the stars, knowing that similar transformations were happening throughout human space. Mining stations were revealing hidden missile launchers. Cargo ships were dropping their false hulls to expose advanced weapons. Even the tiny research outposts were powering up defensive systems. The galaxy was about to discover that humans had turned their entire civilization into a weapon. Commander Dongmin checked his chronometer. 30 seconds until Operation Prometheus began. Around the galaxy, hundreds of human operatives were preparing to strike simultaneously. The plan required perfect timing. If even one mission failed early, the aliens might realize what was happening and warn their fleets. All units, this is Ghost Leader, he whispered into his communicator. Execute in 10, 9, 8. On cue, explosions rocked Outer Station 12. The reactor went critical as shaped charges destroyed key components. Backup generators failed in cascading failures. The communication array sparked and died, cutting the station's connection to the hegemony network. But Dongmin's mission was just beginning. As emergency lights cast red shadows through the smoke, his team moved like deadly shadows through the corridors. Any alien they encountered was stunned with non-lethal weapons. Humanity didn't want to start a genocide, just send a message. Within 20 minutes, Ghost Battalion had captured the station's command center and downloaded every file in their computers. 3 centuries of hegemony military secrets were now in human hands. Similar operations unfolded across the galaxy. Human agents emerged from deep cover to sabotage communication relays, steal intelligence, and rescue imprisoned alien dissidents. The hegemony's information network, built over thousands of years, was being systematically destroyed by an enemy they thought was extinct. On the bridge of the flagship Indomitable Spirit, Captain Wu Jin received reports from the first wave operations. Every mission had succeeded perfectly. The hegemony was blind, deaf, and confused. Sir, we're receiving surrender signals from 12 hegemony outposts, reported his communication officer. They're asking for terms. Wu Jin almost laughed. The aliens still didn't understand what was happening. They thought this was a normal military raid by some unknown species. They had no idea that their greatest nightmare had returned from the grave. Ignore the surrender requests, he ordered. We're not here to capture outposts. We're here to tear down their entire system. The indomitable spirit was humanity's pride, a ship that looked like it had been built from black metal and starlight. It could phase in and out of normal space, making it nearly impossible to target. Its weapons could adapt to any defense, and its hull could repair itself using nanotechnology that the aliens couldn't detect or understand. But the ship's most dangerous feature was its crew. Every human aboard had been born during the exile years, raised from childhood to fight for freedom. They had never known peace, never experienced the soft comfort that had made the aliens weak. Dr. Hyojin's voice crackled through the ship's communication system. Captain, the virus is ready for deployment. I need a direct connection to any hegemony neural network. Understood, Doctor. We'll get you that connection. As the indomitable spirit moved toward its target, Wu Jin thought about the children, back on Earth, who were learning about this day in their history classes. They would know that their parents and grandparents had not died in vain. They would know that humanity had kept its promise. The galaxy had tried to forget them, but Earth remembered. And now Earth was ready to make sure that freedom would never be forgotten again. Wing Commander Gite led his squadron through the darkness between stars, heading toward the largest hegemony shipyard in the galaxy. His 12 fighters moved in perfect formation, their hulls absorbing light instead of reflecting it. To alien sensors, they were just empty space. Remember, he spoke quietly into his helmet communicator. We hit fast and hard. The shipyard has 300 vessels under construction. Our job is to make sure they never fly. Behind him, his pilots acknowledged the order. They were all young, born during the exile years, trained from childhood to fly ships that defied physics. None of them had ever seen Earth's blue skies, but they all knew what they were fighting for. The shipyard appeared ahead of them, a massive structure built around a dying star, using the star's energy to forge metal and grow crystals for alien warships. It was supposed to be the most secure facility in hegemony space, protected by energy shields and automated defense systems that could destroy entire fleets. The aliens had forgotten that humans didn't attack the way they expected. Phase drive active, Gite announced. His fighter shimmered and became translucent as it slipped partially out of normal space. The shipyard's shields meant nothing to a ship that existed between dimensions. Around him, his squadron followed suit, becoming ghosts that could fly through solid matter. They passed through the shield wall like it wasn't there. The first alien to die never saw it coming. Gite's fighter materialized inside the shipyard's control center and fired a single shot. The plasma bolt vaporized the security station and every alien manning it. Before the survivors could even activate an alarm, 11 more fighters appeared throughout the facility. Chaos erupted as human weapons carved through alien defenses like fire through paper. The aliens had built their shields to stop energy weapons, and their armor to deflect kinetic projectiles. But human weapons did both at the same time, using technology that alien science said was impossible. Master Tactician Yun Young coordinated the attack from her command ship, watching data streams from 100 different battles. Her strategic mind processed information faster than the most advanced alien computers, finding patterns and weaknesses that others missed. Sector 7 reports shields down, came a voice through her headset. Sector 12 has eliminated all defensive platforms. Sector 4 requests immediate support. They've encountered heavy resistance. Redirect Ghost Squadron from Sector 2, Yun Young ordered without hesitation. Tell them to phase directly into the enemy formation and attack from inside their defensive perimeter. She had studied every alien military manual, learned every tactical doctrine they taught in their academies. The aliens fought like machines, predictable, methodical, following rules that had worked for thousands of years. But humans had learned to fight like chaos itself, adapting and improvising faster than any enemy could respond. Captain Wu Jin brought the indomitable spirit out of hyperspace directly above the hegemony's primary neural linking facility. The Dimar massive station orbited a gas giant, surrounded by automated defense platforms and patrol ships. It was supposed to be impossible to approach without being detected hours in advance. But the aliens had never faced an enemy that could appear from nowhere. "Shields up, weapons hot," Wu Jin ordered. "Remember, we're not here to destroy the station. We need to capture it intact so Dr. Hai Jin can upload her virus." The hegemony patrol ships reacted quickly, turning to face the human flagship with weapons charging. They were brave, Wu Jin admitted to himself. But bravery wouldn't save them from superior technology and 3 centuries of pent-up human anger. "Fire," he said quietly. The indomitable spirit's main guns spoke with voices like thunder. Beams of coherent plasma lanced out, not at the alien ships but at the space around them. The energy interacted with quantum fields in ways that alien science didn't understand, creating expanding bubbles of distorted space-time. The alien ships simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, not exploded, just erased from reality as if they had never been built. Dr. Hai Jin watched from the science station as human boarding parties stormed the neural linking facility. Her virus was ready, contained in a data crystal that would integrate seamlessly with alien computer systems. Once uploaded, it would spread through the entire hegemony network in minutes. "Captain, I need 5 minutes with their main computer core," she reported. "You'll have it, Doctor. My Marines are clearing the path now." Throughout the galaxy, similar scenes played out as human forces struck without warning. The aliens had expected their next war to come from another major power, some species that would challenge them openly and fight according to established rules. Instead, they faced an enemy that appeared from empty space, struck with impossible weapons, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. On the hegemony capital world, Supreme Chancellor Vextar received reports of attacks from 17 different systems. Each report sounded more impossible than the last. Ships that could fly through solid matter, weapons that erased matter from existence, soldiers that could become invisible and strike from anywhere. "What species is responsible for these attacks?" he demanded, his crystalline form pulsing with angry light. "The survivors claim it was humans, Your Excellence," replied his aide nervously. "But that's impossible. Humans went extinct 300 years ago." Vexitar's form flickered with confusion. He accessed the historical databases confirming what everyone knew: the human plague had killed their entire species. The few survivors had died within years. Earth was a dead world, its system empty except for automated monitoring stations. "Run a full scan of the Sol system," he ordered. "If humans somehow survived, I want to know about it." The scan results arrived 20 minutes later. Vexitar stared at the display in growing horror. The Sol system wasn't empty. It was swarming with activity. Massive industrial complexes on every planet and moon, space stations that hadn't existed in their records, and ships, thousands of ships, moving in formations that could only mean one thing. Humanity had not just survived. They had built an empire. Dr. Hai Jin's fingers flew over the alien control interface as she uploaded her virus. The hegemony's computer systems were sophisticated but predictable. They relied on brute force processing rather than creative problem solving. Her virus slipped past their defenses like water through cracks. "Upload complete," she announced. "The virus is spreading through their network now. Neural linking stations across the galaxy should start failing within the hour." But the virus was just the beginning. As it spread, it would also transmit a message to every alien in the galaxy. A message that would tell them the truth about humanity's survival and offer them a choice. They could join the humans in fighting for freedom, or they could remain slaves to the hegemony's control. But they would know the choice existed, and that knowledge alone would be enough to shatter the hegemony's power forever. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't just fight for themselves. They fought for the right of every thinking being to remain free. 1 year after the Liberation War ended, Ambassador Haywan stood before the new Galactic Assembly on Nexus Prime. The Great Hall looked the same as it had during the old hegemony days, but everything else had changed. Where once 5 powerful species had controlled 800 others, now every world had an equal voice. The assembly members came in all shapes and sizes: feathered, scaled, crystalline, gaseous, and everything in between. But for the first time in galactic history, they were all there by choice. "Fellow beings," Haywan began, her voice carrying clearly through the translator systems. "1 year ago, the galaxy believed my species was extinct. Today, we gather as equals to build a future where no species will ever face extinction for the crime of being different." In the audience, representatives who had once feared humans now looked at her with respect. The Liberation War had been swift and decisive. Human forces had struck at over 300 hegemony installations simultaneously, crippling their ability to respond. But more importantly, humanity had kept its word. Once the neural linking threat was eliminated, they had withdrawn their fleets and offered peace. Admiral Jinho commanded the new Combined Species Defense Force from his flagship, the Unity's Dawn. His bridge crew included humans, but also former hegemony soldiers who had chosen freedom over tyranny. The Kalari navigator spread her golden wings as she plotted courses to patrol routes. The Vex engineer's crystalline form hummed with concentration as he monitored the ship's systems. "Admiral, we have a distress signal from the Rim territories," reported Commander Somin, his human communications officer. "Pirates are attacking civilian traders near the Broken Star Nebula. Set course immediately," Jinho ordered, "and signal the nearest patrol groups. We respond to all calls for help regardless of species." This was humanity's new role in the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as protectors. The Defense Force included ships and crew from 40 different species, all united by the simple idea that freedom was worth defending. On the bridge of the patrol ship Harmony, Captain Na Young reviewed reports from liberated worlds. The transformation had been remarkable. Species that had been suppressed for centuries were rediscovering their own cultures and technologies. The galaxy was becoming more diverse and creative than it had been in thousands of years. "Ma'am, we're receiving a priority message from New Geneva Colony," announced Lieutenant Minho. "They're requesting assistance with their first democratic elections. The local aliens have never voted before and want human advisors to help them understand the process." Na Young smiled. Democracy was spreading faster than anyone had expected. Once aliens learned that they could choose their own leaders, they embraced the concept with enthusiasm. Some were stumbling through the process, but they were learning. "Tell them we'll send a civilian advisory team," she decided, "and remind them that every species gets to develop their own version of democracy. We're not here to impose human systems, just to make sure they have the freedom to choose." Back on Earth, the planet had transformed into something unprecedented. The capital city of New Geneva had been built in the ruins of Old Geneva, but it welcomed beings from across the galaxy. Human children played in parks alongside young aliens whose parents had chosen to relocate to the world that had freed them. Retired Admiral Tae-jin walked through one of these parks, watching a human girl teach a group of young Kailari how to play soccer. The bird-like aliens were terrible at the game, but they laughed with pure joy every time they managed to kick the ball. "Grandfather Tae-jin," called out his granddaughter Sun-hee as she ran toward him. "Look what Kriya taught me." She held up a small crystal that glowed with soft blue light, a traditional Vex friendship token. "That's beautiful, little one," he said, kneeling down to examine the gift. "Did you know that before the war, Vex crystals were only given to members of their own species? Kriya says I'm honorary Vex now because I helped her with her homework," Sun-hee announced proudly. Tae-jin smiled. This was what they had fought for, a galaxy where a human child could be honorary Vex, where different species learned from each other instead of fearing their differences. The memorial wall stood in the center of New Geneva, listing the names of every human who had died during the long preparation. Some had died in training accidents, others had sacrificed themselves on deep cover missions. Many had simply grown old and died while waiting for the day when their children could live freely. At the top of the wall, carved in letters that could be seen from space, were the words that had guided humanity through 3 centuries of exile. They chose exile so their children could choose freedom. Dr. Haye Jin, now Director of Interspecies Technological Exchange, stood before the wall with her daughter Jiwoo. The girl was only 8 years old, but she already spoke 4 alien languages and could operate technology from a dozen different species. "Mom, why did humans have to hide for so long?" Jiwoo asked. "Because sometimes, little one, the galaxy forgets that being different isn't the same as being dangerous. But humans never forgot who they were, even when everyone else did. In the depths of space, the Silent Thunder continued its patrol of the outer galaxy. Captain Hyunwoo, now promoted to admiral, commanded a fleet of exploration ships that were mapping unknown regions and making contact with new species. Every time they found a civilization, they offered the same thing: friendship, trade, and protection from anyone who would threaten their freedom. "Sir, long-range sensors are detecting a new species in the spiral arm," reported his science officer. "They appear to be pre-industrial, but they're showing signs of rapid development." "Standard first contact protocol," Hyunwoo ordered. "Observe. Only no interference. When they're ready for contact, they'll let us know." This was humanity's greatest lesson from their own near extinction. Freedom couldn't be forced on anyone. It had to be chosen. The galaxy was full of species at different stages of development, and each deserved the right to grow at their own pace. The hegemony's former leaders now lived in comfortable exile, on designated worlds, stripped of their power but allowed to live in peace. Humanity had proven that justice didn't require revenge. The truly important victory had been freeing the minds of billions of beings who had never known they were imprisoned. Ambassador Hae-won concluded her speech to the assembly with words that would be remembered for generations. "The galaxy forgot us, but we remembered ourselves. We remembered that freedom is not something you earn or deserve. It's something you protect. Today, every being in this galaxy has the right to think their own thoughts, dream their own dreams, and choose their own path among the stars." Applause was thunderous, coming from hundreds of different species using dozens of different ways to show approval. But the sound that meant the most to Hae-won was the simple clapping of human hands, mixed in with all the others. Humanity had come home to a galaxy that would never forget them again. As the assembly session ended and representatives prepared to return to their worlds, the vast display screen showed the current status of galactic civilization. 847 species, all free, all equal, all protected by a defense force that served every world equally. In the corner of the display, almost too small to notice, was a small notation: Sol 3, Terra. Population 12.7 billion. Humans plus 2.3 billion guest species. Status: Protector World. The galaxy would never again make the mistake of thinking that small blue planets couldn't change the universe. Earth remembered, and now the galaxy would remember too.